What is going on? Oh my God, that is the wrong scene. There it is. What's going on, guys? It is game day still. And as promised, we are doing a quick hot take review and Bears preview before the game starts today. And hopefully we can get done just before Wraps Live because I want to jump over there and enjoy the good stuff going over on Vocal Vikes channel. So let's jump right into it. Sorry, let me. Good Lord. Now, let's start with First Take and their hot take or their predictions for week 1.
But how about Monday Night Football? We got a good one, too. In the NFC North showdown between the Vikings and Bears, J.J. McCarthy will take his first snaps of his career after missing his entire rookie season. He had a knee injury, guys. Meanwhile, we'll get our first look at Caleb Williams under new head coach Ben Johnson. And you can watch this all go down on ESPN and ABC. Louis, do you think J.J. or Caleb's season debut is more intriguing?
I think it's J.J.'s because of the fact that, one, he misses his entire rookie season with the meniscus injury after playing, one series or 2 series in that game against the Raiders. In his second season where he comes back, they don't have a real safety net underneath him, although Carson Wentz is there now as far as the number 2 quarterback.
That's a safety?
Exactly. I'm saying they have no safety net. Okay. And Kevin O'Connell only plays him in 1 preseason game, 1 series. Again, because he believes that I know what I've got. I see it every single day. I've been with him for an entire year. I believe in this young man's process. I think he now, especially considering, Molly, all the things that he has at his disposal and all the weapons that he has surrounding him, this always, to me, even going back to last year when people thought Caleb had the best situation, this always was, to me, the best situation for a young quarterback. We just didn't get.
Exactly. So to start off with the first question there, and before we get started, what is up, Lefty? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining me on this quick hot take review, Bears Vikings edition. And yeah, you know, it's so funny to me. 2 years ago, going into the draft, everybody was so all in love with, whichever quarterback lands in Minnesota's lap is going to be the quarterback that succeeds. And there's going to be, it's going to be the happiest time with KOC and they're going to be a dominant team and blah, 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 blah. And then now 2 years later, it's the opposite narrative. And I don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Did your balls fall off? Did you forget what you had said? Like, oh my God, people are so dumb. But when it comes to the question, who's got the most intriguing storyline going into today's game? I definitely think it's J.J. McCarthy as well. We know what the storyline is, the injury, blah, 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 blah. And he makes a good point about how confident KOC seems to be when it comes to J.J. McCarthy by only playing him 1 series and being like, you know what, that's all you guys are going to see. We just took the cover off just for a little bit. It's like that one guy that shows up to the car meet, you know what I mean? Shows up, he's got like the craziest sounding car and it looks amazing. He pulls in, he's there for like 30 minutes. And the entire time, nobody gets him to pop the hood to see what is going on. And then 10 minutes before he leaves, he pops it open for 3 minutes and then bounces in. Everybody's left like, what the fuck was that? And you got to credit KOC and his confidence when it comes to that shit because, man, I am from that cocky era. I love me some Michael Jordan trash talking stories. I love that generation of sports, right? So I like to see it. So I think that plays a big factor, but for me, it's the intrigue of the rookie mystique, because really he is, even though this is his second year, he is basically a rookie. So for me, the mystique of any rookie that's got a lot of potential, those are the stories that NFL film movies are about, or whatever Showtime movies are about, right? So I like that mystique and that aura surrounding the potential of a young mind and how it handles adversity and develops over the years. So We've already seen what Caleb can do. You know, a generational so-called talent going into last year and proclaimed Super Bowl caliber quarterback and predicted to be in the Super Bowl by Nick Wright. Let's not forget. And he ended up getting 5 wins, right? So let's not forget, I was the one that put the Bears on a 5-win prediction last year, and everybody laughed and said whatever in the comments. But who's laughing now? The Bears got 5 wins, and it looked as dysfunctional as ever. The turmoil that's going on in that organization has been documented thoroughly, and we got a unique perspective that we're going to go over that. But yes, for the storyline's sake, the narrative's sake, yes, for sure. Now let's see what else the rest of the panel says.
Get a chance to see it because he got hurt. But between Kevin O'Connell and with Josh McCown and with Justin Jefferson and with Jordan Addison, I mean, and with this offensive line that they have and with the running game that they have, this is the situation where you go, okay, quarterback plug and play, stick him in here, and we start rolling. You are set up for success instantly. I think Kevin O'Connell is arguably top 2 or 3 in terms of quarterback tutors in the entire NFL right now. And their system is just tailor-made to get guys playing fast very quickly.
No, I'm muted. But anyways, so which is a good point to say. What I was just saying is that last year it was you know, a lot of things were said about how, you know, Kevin O'Connell and whatever quarterback was the one to land the Minnesota gig was going to be the most productive or the most successful quarterback, right? 2 years ago, going into this one, now what? Now what? You know what I mean? So did they forget what happened? You know what I mean? Like, what was their point? But anyways, what's the fact of the matter is that we've seen what Caleb Williams has done with the pressure and the so-called generational talent thrust upon him, and he produced a 5-win season. I know Ben Johnson's going to be there, but you know, there's a lot to be said about the disorganization within the Bears organization that it's going to play a big factor. So let's move forward.
I think this is the one. I think without a doubt, JJ has a lot of pressure on him. He needs to show out, and I think he will.
Mad Dog?
I got to give JJ a little break, Lewis. It's his first ever game. He has a bad game. I can't go crazy. This is a big year for Williams. You know, last year he was sacked 68 times. That's the 3rd most.
Let's not forget that. Okay, I know that for the up until the trade deadline, they had a completely different O-line. But even after the O-line acquisitions that they had the rest of the year, that O-line wasn't great either. 3rd most all-time sacked 68 times in a season. How that's one record that they can't take for him from his rookie campaign. 68 sacks in his rookie campaign. Unbelievable. And yes, they've made a lot of acquisitions on the O-line, Joe Tooney. It's been well documented, right? But I always think to myself, like, how does Kansas City lose a guy like Joe Tooney? Is there more behind what was going on there? Is he still as valuable as the media wants us to believe? I know he historically has been a great guard or tap guard, right? So what does that mean now that Kansas City was so willing to move on from him? You know, was his backup their backup plan so much better than, you know, Super Bowl winning Joe Tooney? Or was the writing on the wall and the decline was starting to happen at a rapid pace, and they were like, Could happen this year. It could happen next year, maybe the year after that if he gets lucky. But it's happening soon, and we don't want to be in the business of Joe Tooney. I don't know what So we're gonna see what Joe Tooney looks like in a Bears uniform. That's going to be a big factor. On top of the fact that they're going to be figuring it all out themselves. It's going to be the first regular season game for all those guys, right? So interesting. 68 sacks. I wonder.
In the history of the NFL.
16 more than anybody else.
He was terrible. And there was a big story in the Times this week with the quarterback tiers, and they put him in the third tier. And there was a quote in there from a defensive coordinator who faced him last year. He said, listen, I never saw a guy who didn't know when to get rid of the ball. It was a tough quote for Caleb Williams. I don't know if you read it. It was a tough quote. The idea was indecisive in the pocket. And so as a result, he's got a new offensive coordinator. The Bears have never had a quarterback. We all know that since my buddy Luckman. In fact,
that says a lot about Caleb Williams. That quote there by Mad Dog there. Where is the prediction? Because I think they didn't do it in this one. I thought they go and do a breakdown each, but that's okay. We're gonna jump on to the next clip because essentially the whole clip breaks down to they're siding on the Vikings having the edge because of the experience, the better roster, the more stability, and less things to overcome in comparison to Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and the Bears. So, big ups to the guys over at First Take for getting it right. Now, let's move on because I was waiting. I wanted to start this live a little bit earlier but I was waiting to see if I could get a first things first clip or a herd clip about this week's game, but I could not get one. But what I did find was something that completely had gone under the radar for me. I had already forgotten about, because you guys remember about a month and a half ago. I remember because I was watching a lot of training camp stuff, and I remember seeing the clip of Ben Johnson and hold on a second. Is that my car? Holy crap. I thought somebody was stealing my car. No, I'm joking. It's not that crazy up here in Canada. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, I remember seeing that clip where Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are going at it each other, and Ben Johnson didn't look so happy, and it got me to think, it's not the grass ain't quite greener on the other side, as per the mainstream media and Nick Wright would have us believe. And so this clip or this interview that they had here on the herd this afternoon was something that kind of reminded me and was like, oh yeah, I know I've been saying all the Bears organization, but here we go with a lot. Let's get into this clip. We'll get to the start and I'll kind of break down the rest of the clip because we don't want to get copyright struck here.
3-part series called House of Dysfunction about the calamity of Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback who opens his season tonight at home against Minnesota. Deep-rooted problems, day-to-day issues, and fissures within the organization. Tyler Dunn, an NFL writer, the founder of GoLongTD.com. It's long-form journalism. If you've got 30 or 40 minutes, I read it yesterday. I had two friends in Chicago, just journalists in that city saying, man, what do you make of this?
And I agree. If you guys get a chance, head over and read the full article because it goes in depth to a lot of the stuff that was kind of like kept under wraps last year. And then goes into, and today, I think, Colin and him go in a little bit to what's going on with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and all that drama that's kind of been swept under the rug as well. So Let's hear what they have to say.
So let's start with Caleb Williams. He was the first NIL star. USC in LA is a flashy, high-profile program. It was fairly obvious, and you can talk in some detail here, that once Eberflus is out, now he's on, his second head coach and his third head coach. He didn't either respect his third coach. Is that it? Or was it just he came with attitude day one?
What a question right there. Good gravy. What a start to the interview. Just throwing Caleb Williams under the bus. And you know what? I'm all here for it, because it kind of paints a picture that we all need to be aware of when it comes to the hype surrounding the Chicago Bears and all the little things that nobody's really talking about.
I think that roles were really reversed in this case. The Chicago Bears were not interviewing Caleb Williams to be their quarterback, to be their selection number 1 overall.
So there you have it. He confirms it there, that it might just be Caleb's arrogance is also a big factor to why things were so shaky at times last year, which then leads back to his college days where he was a little bit of a diva. And this guy goes into depth, and he goes quite a bit into it, and it's going to be quite a while. So we're going to skip ahead to where they talk about Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
I got to get my stuff in order with this boss. I mean, what's the Ben Johnson Caleb dynamic now?
Man, everybody that I talk to is fascinated by this relationship between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, because think back to last year when Thomas Brown, an old school head coach, is trying to tell Caleb Williams something during that Seattle game, and Caleb Williams just walks away, right? Okay.
My goodness. What an indictment. What an indictment. Caleb just walks away. So I know we have some of that dynamic going this year a little bit. Maybe it's fixed, though. Maybe he's got some good news for us. Let's see. Maybe it's all behind us. Let's find out.
Ben Johnson is old school, too. Ben Johnson has an offense that he wants to run. He's not going to bend and twist and contort and change everything. This is an opportunity that he has worked his entire life for. One of his former colleagues said, Ben is the kind of guy that will lock himself into an office and search for every answer to every question that his team could possibly face on game day. So he's going to give Caleb Williams the perfect scenario starting tonight against the Minnesota Vikings. I've got no doubt about it that Ben Johnson has the answers. I mean, you saw it there with Detroit. But it takes two to the tango. When that play clock hits 15 seconds, that headset's shut off. It's all on the quarterback to maybe check to a different play, to see that safety coming down and know, all right, I got to send the run the other direction, or I got to send some protection and do all of those little things that go into being a successful quarterback. Maybe Caleb Williams is there, right? Like maybe everything that happened last year, he knows the truth. He knows he has to evolve. Last year, I mean, coaches described the worst Friday walkthroughs they've ever seen in their lives.
Yeah, I heard that twice. I heard that by two sources that were at Bears games.
Jeez Louise, worst walkthroughs. But you know what? He makes some good points there, talking about how Ben Johnson has, the right stuff. He's got the answers, so and so. And it's all on Caleb. After the headset gets turned off, if he can do what is told, if he can overcome that diva that's in him and just run the play as is and trust what his coach is telling him, with the friction among you never know. And he is the same type of hard-nosed, 80s style mindset than the previous coach, even though he's an offensive guy. So we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, but let's move on. We got another one. So we got a little bit of a funny one here. We're just going to go through some screen grabs of this next hot take that we're going to be looking at here. Something that we can kind of get a good laugh at. So we got Rich Eisen and the crew dropping today a couple funny videos. One, Ashton Kutcher's Bears record prediction, which made him sound so delusional. It's actually really funny. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my, if I go by Ashton Kutcher's freaking judgment, we're screwed. So let's see what they have to say today about the NFC North standing. So let's step back and let's go over this instead of Bears Vikings for a moment.
Let's predict.
And oh yeah, no. So now first off, we have what's his face over here? TJ. And here we go. Starting off strong with making the most illusionable. I think this oh no, this one is actually 5 days ago. So it was the one earlier today was the one for Ashton Kutcher, but this is 5 days. So this is pre-Lions disaster in Lambeau. So we got TJ coming in hot with the Lions and totally doubling down that they are still a Super Bowl contender. Newsflash, I did put them down as one of my bold predictions that they'd be lucky to win 10 games, and I put them down as an 8-win team this year. I think there's going to be a lot more dysfunction in Detroit because, sometimes, they say there's two, it takes two to tango, right? So a lot of people say, oh, look, the Lions look like garbage because Ben Johnson got it. It's official. It's official. Ben Johnson was the key. So the Bears are going to be amazing, right? And then we look at other situations like that. Oh, Tom Brady, he'll never be what he was without the greatest coach ever. You know what I mean? And then he goes and wins a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So a lot of things don't really make sense because it takes two sides, right? So maybe Ben Johnson's mind plus the personnel and the willingness from that personnel is the secret sauce, is what when those two magnets come together at opposing and they create that like little bit of hovering, and that's why you can create those suspended kind of like knickknacks or like little toys that you can see online and stuff, right? Without each other, they can't be as great as they need to be. So maybe I'm wrong. And tonight, Ben Johnson goes out and for the next 15 years proves that he's one of the greatest coaches to ever live, or offensive coordinators and future coaches to ever live. And maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm right. So I think they're going to definitely struggle. But the Packers are number 2, Vikings and Bears 3rd and 4th. My God, the best roster on the division in third place. Can you guys freaking believe it? So let's move forward over to old Mr. Brockman over here. And his take, where's Kent's? Can you? Oh, that is a Toronto Raptors logo because I am Canadian and I am a Raptors fan. So that is the logo, NBA logo. It's one of those Raptors claws holding a basketball. But yes, now we got Kent with his laughable, basically the same thing, except for they put the Packers up in front. But you know what I have to say about those Packers? I'm not sold. Jordan Love, I don't care what anybody says until you do it and stop throwing freaking game-ending interceptions against trash teams and stop playing like garbage. And we'll see. So we still got another year or two, and but laughable. And then the guy that's been on the Minnesota Vikings train, I'm thinking Rich Eisen's gonna do us a favor. He's gonna come in solid, give us a good favorable ranking, and then he basically says the same thing as TJ. I just don't get it. Like, how can a 5-1? either way, it is what it is. Sometimes they all can't see reality, and they all can't be in the know like us Vikings fans are, right? Just like people, before Facebook was a thing and it was passing around all those Ivy League schools and everybody knew, whatever, they knew they had something. Oh, you don't know about, we're part of it. That's us. We were that last year when people thought we weren't going to win five. The over-under was 5.5 wins and we won 14. But we knew we could have freaking run the table if everything went the way that it needed to and we didn't have some timely injuries. But we busted out a 14-win season because we got a solid roster. But let's move on. And let us move on to the last clip of the day. I wanted to go and redeem some of the mainstream media here. Because they're not all totally blind. And the guys over at ESPN today, on NFL Live on ESPN, got it right for a chance. So on the last one, the last reaction that we have here, we got NFL Live, and let's move forward. So we got Peter Schrager, Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky, and I forget her name right now, but either way, I think she's just a host. I don't think she puts in a vote here on the who's winning. But let's drum roll. Let's see how they did in their predictions. There we go. Look at that. Marcus is the only one offset that didn't get the memo. Okay? Because he goes and he picks the Bears. But everybody else with a brain picks the Vikings. 24-20, 27-20, 24-21, 27-24. In a game that's a lot closer than people want to believe in, because let's be real. Let's tell the truth here. When it comes to today's game, I will be surprised if the Bears score more than 12 points. I just, that's the way it is. They're a 5-win team, basically starting over again at square one. So they're everything that there's some experience, that Caleb got from last year, tangible, playing at the NFL level. There's a lot of like minor things that the team in general, that are players that are coming back, have that are going to help them, so they're not at total square one, I guess, but they are definitely at square one when it comes to, they have a brand new offensive coordinator, they have a brand new playbook, new verbiage, new everything. I've been harping on it, right? So I think that it's going to be a lot harder for the Bears. And I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains, something that I'm harped on last year, which is why I said that they were going to win 5 games last season, and they did. And it's because when you disregard the process and how it naturally happens, how improbable it is for a team in their situation to just flip the script and all of a sudden be playing at a high playoff team's potential or efficiency, and actually produce at higher than that, as people were leading us to believe. You have a better chance of winning the lottery. Have we ever seen it in the NFL? I don't think so. And we didn't see it last year. People forgot that, there's going to be an adjustment period. All these players that they brought in, they're all going to have to figure out, and there's going to have to be some, adapting period. There's going to be some the time where they're gelling and they're trying to get that cohesion that's going to get them to run as a well-oiled, high efficient machine. And with the talent, I'm not going to lie, they have a lot of talent on paper. So it's never been a thing of the talent that they have, but it's a thing of how consistent can you be when you don't even have any experience to draw upon, right? So We're going to see what Ben Johnson is. I don't think that a full offseason and all this preparation going up to today is going to have them operating at an NFL Super Bowl caliber, Super Bowl juggernaut level team. It's not going to happen. So that's why I'm struggling to see them score more than 12 points. And then when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, our beloved Vikings, they have a stacked deck. We have a coach that's returning for his third, fourth year now. I forget what it is. And we have a consistent defensive coordinator going into his third year, which is a guru, a unique defensive coordinator that I akin to the likes of Spags over in KC at that level of uniqueness and talent, right? Not the same, of course, because you can't really compare things to those type of defensive coordinators, but we're all basically the same. We've got some new players on the offensive line, and people might say, "Oh, you guys got a bunch of new too," like especially on your O line, we got 3. But yes, our new is definitely going to have those same situations, but they're upgrades to what we had before, and with the work that we're going to put in, I feel like overall they're going to perform much better and have their growing pains aren't going to be affecting the outcome of the game as much as the whole Chicago Bears team is going to be affecting, right? I anticipate a ton of unforced errors, a ton of penalties that are just going to be holding the Bears down and making it so that they are falling behind. And what are you going to do when you're kicking field goals trying to win? It's just the way it is. So that's why today I got the Vikings. I don't think I don't see as much as I'd love to see the Vikings be that type of team that as soon as they get a lead, they just put the freaking foot to the floor and just bury teams. I don't think we're ever going to be seeing a 72 point outing from our team like we saw by the fucking Dolphins a few years ago now, right? So, but what I don't think we are is also a reserve team. Because last year, going into week 1, thinking what I did about Sam Darnold and hoping that everything worked out and our team could kind of help carry him into a good comfort zone and develop the confidence that he needed to do what he did. The thing that I expected from Kevin O'Connell is for him to be a little bit reserved, maybe putting him on a certain play count, maybe not opening up the whole freaking playbook to him right off the bat. And then we freaking blew out the Giants. And I was like, oh, he's not going to be reserved. KOC doesn't care. And he's going to be attacking and he's going to be doing what he thinks he needs to be doing to win. And this year, I wholeheartedly think he's going to be doing the same thing with Caleb Williams, trying their best, and the Bears trying their best to overcome the mountain that KOC is preparing the Vikings to bring in to fucking Soldier Field. So I wholeheartedly expect the Vikings to put up, you know what I mean? They could put up 27, but I feel like they'll slow down. They'll just run the ball a lot. So it's more likely to be 24-12, but I have my fingers crossed, a 27, 30, 32, 34-12. I'd love a huge route like that, just to put a statement on this win, just to remind people that it doesn't come that easy. Do you guys remember the Redeem team? Do you guys remember Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco, Donovan McNabb? Oh, that team was supposed to win the Super Bowl. And what happened? Those guys fell apart because sometimes you need to walk the walk and produce, and those guys didn't. You know what I mean? So that's the way it is. Vikings easily putting it down. 24 is probably going to be where they're going to settle it down and stop taking it to these Bears. But 27 is probably where it's going to be. And the Bears, how are you going to win when you guys are going to be kicking field goals? You guys fucking suck. Let's be real. You guys are about to witness and be humbled like you guys were last year. Remember last year? You guys all thought you guys were going to the Super Bowl. And you know what? You guys have exactly 1 hour left of those delusions for this year too, before it all starts crumbling down. And just like the Giants fans last year, in the comment sections, in the fucking chat, before the game started, y'all sound the same this year. And what happened to those Giants last year? They got mollywopped. And that's exactly what's gonna happen to you guys this year. You guys are gonna get mollywopped. It's gonna be super easy. You guys are gonna fall apart, and by like week 7 or 8, you guys are gonna be calling for freaking Ben Johnson's head. Because you guys are just that delusional. So I love it, guys. I gotta head over. I want to go jump into Raps chat. Jump over to Vocal Vikes channel. I hope you guys had a good one. I'll see you guys post live. I might actually jump in on Zoe's live if he'll have me, but I'll catch you guys later. And let's go, Vikings. Easy win, easy clap. These bums don't know what's coming to them. Oh yeah, baby.